the talent evaluation community that's about to convene in Mobile, Alabama, and kick everything off with some games of some prospects, and then we all know Combine around the corner. What, with your ear to the ground and your connection to this community, was the conversation surrounding Matt Corral's decision to play, Kenny Pickett's decision to not play, their love of football, so on and so forth? Daniel Jeremiah.
I can tell you get it was really cool that Matt Corral was going to play in the game. Follow-up question. Does that impact your evaluation? No. Kenny Pickett is not playing in the game. I wish he would have played. Does that impact your evaluation or opinion of him? No. They're very brief conversations in that regard. These guys have the haze in the barn. They put everything out there to evaluate them, and whether they do or don't play in that game really has no bearing on where they'll go in the draft. I go back to that one year where Christian McCaffrey didn't play, and still goes where he goes in the top 10. Didn't impact him. In that same game, Solomon Thomas does play, plays his butt off, and helped himself and launched himself into the top 5. So you kind of see the benefits of playing, but I don't know that there's really the detriments of not playing. So
there's no conversation about love of football? Nothing like that?
No. Huh. No, I don't. I think that conversation left the room a long time ago. And it sure as heck should have this year when you look at what we came off of last year and you look at the best rookies in the NFL and Jamar Chase, Rashawn Slater, and Micah Parsons, who had a whole year of no football, and I think it worked out quite well for those 3 teams.
Yeah, and Lance pretty much had one too, right? With the exception of one game.
Exactly.
So
no, I don't. I think that's something that people in the media like to lob around and think that these discussions, and then there's these 80-year-old scouts in rooms shaking their fists and frustration, and I just, I don't think that really happened.
Well, I mean, in a way, when I heard, because obviously I'm referring to what Kirk Herbstreit and Desmond Howard were saying on ESPN prior to the Rose Bowl that caught a lot of fire. I mean, I totally, and you and I feel similarly sometimes when we hear somebody's not going to spin it at the Combine, because that's our broadcast, right? Like, that's our world, and we wish they would. But when it all comes down to it, there's no red flag or evaluation that comes from that, is there? Like,
no.
Either?
I mean, I think, does that go back? I want to say, I'm trying to think back to the first time somebody didn't throw. Was that Andrew Luck, maybe?
I think that could even predate that, too, DJ. I'll be honest with you. I don't think, did Eli throw at the Combine?
Yeah, you know what? Now that you say that, I don't think Eli did.
Right? I mean, I don't know if he did either, so.
No. But I you know what? I'm anxious instead of us, and not talking about you and me, but obviously we want to see these guys throw because it's fun and it makes for a much better broadcast. But instead of the community kind of complaining about these guys not throwing, why don't we do something on our end to incentivize them to throw? And whether that's a combination of cash and Rich Eisen trucker hats, I don't know, but there's got to be something we can do.
I appreciate you putting Rich Eisen trucker hats on par with actual cold hard American cash, Daniel. I appreciate that.
You should combine it with The Price is Right and have him play Plinko or something.
Well, I mean,
can you imagine though how much fun it would be if we said, all right, for each position group, whoever has the fastest 40 is $50,000. If
why not? I mean, come on, Daniel. I'm all for having guys run 40s next to each other. And I'm all for turning it into a full-on competition. But the scouting community, wouldn't they blanch at it, or no?
Who cares? Who cares? They're going to complain. They're going to they complain when it's spread out over a couple extra days. And to be honest, I mean the Rams. Les has kind of set the bar on that one where they don't really bring many guys to Indy. They sit at home and watch it on TV like the rest of us.
That's because they don't have draft choices anymore, Daniel.
Well, there's that. No, they own the third round.
That's right.
But, I mean, look, I think teams are not bringing quite as many personnel as they used to there. But let's kind of embrace this thing. I mean, these teams are getting all the GPS numbers on these kids from college, so they have a pretty good idea of how fast they are and all that stuff already. But I just think, man, let's blow it out, man. Let's have some fun.
So full circle, like Wilson and Olave not playing in the Rose Bowl, and Pickett not playing, in the Peach Bowl, and Corral playing in the Sugar Bowl and getting hurt. Their evaluations are going to be the same when it comes down to seeing them at the Combine, getting them on a grease board, interviewing them, and seeing their pro day. That will not be affected based on what just happened in the bowl season. is what you're saying.
That will not. Now there might be they might sit in a room and get an uncomfortable question from a grumpy coach or a grumpy scout, but at the end of the day, the people who are making those decisions and stacking that board, that's not going to have any impact whatsoever.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.